The world is constantly changing, whether that be technology, education, or science, anything like that. And hair color anymore is no different. We're evolving too. That being said, new things can almost feel somewhat intimidating, especially if we don't know a lot about them. Have you ever gone back in your dispensary, see brand new colors or products, and just kind of felt like a deer in headlights? It's like, what? If you have, please drop me an emoji below, whether it be like the big eyes or, like a high five, raise your hand, let me know. We've all been there and we're all here to support each other, so let's share that together. That being said, I understand how crazy things have been lately. I understand how chaotic going through a pandemic could be. I understand some of us are coming back with brand new guidelines, new ways to run our salons, new ways to run our businesses. Um, then we also have sometimes some of us have to teach our children from home. And as you are clearly doing right now, you're learning from maybe home, maybe for a few minutes in your back room or your dispensary or in between clients or grabbing a snack. And for that, I just want to take a second and say thank you. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes to spend some time with me to learn a little bit more about our Matrix new toners. Not toners in general, just how our Matrix line has expanded. If you don't know me, if we have not had the pleasure of meeting yet, my name is Kayla Leib. I've been doing hair for about a third of my life. You can guess how long that's been. I've also been able recently to add Matrix artist to my resume. I am extremely passionate about growing my knowledge of doing hair because that way I can be the best stylist I can be, and I am beyond thrilled with sharing that information for all of you who have that same kind of thirst to have all the knowledge. That being said, we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna go for our toning tips with ColorSync, and for our example today, our guest is gonna be going blonde, and we're gonna be focusing on what toners we typically use during our blonding services because it still is the end of summer. So, we still have some blonde to tone. Anyway, let's continue on. Let me go back. So, what is toning anyway? Toning is the color application to deposit a tone or a color. You can even do like an overlay or even neutralize an unwanted tone. Like our yellows, our brassiness, which could be a huge area. There we go. Area, tone, I don't know, something. And so the one thing I suggest for everyone that always helps with toning, we all need this, and it's always okay to go back to basics, is your color wheel. This is, we're upside down now. Our color wheel, this one's a really nice simple one. It's just nice and big. But we can still see where we have our yellow orange, which was typically for us the yellow gold tone that we see in the hair. And we can still go across and see what we're toning with. So every dispensary needs a color wheel. I highly suggest always having a color wheel. I almost tattooed one on myself. Maybe I will. Still, who knows? Anyway, moving on. We're stuck, and we're gonna have to get this out. 1 second. Bear with me. They make them sticky, so it works great, and sometimes it fights us. Anywho, why in the world would we choose Matrix? I understand. Not even understand. I even go in the beauty supply, and it is there's a lot to choose from. But why would we pick Matrix? Well, I mean, for me, it's pretty simple. It's been one of my favorite colors for all of my career. Anywho, the portfolio, if you haven't seen it, the portfolio, the shades that you have in Matrix ColorSync is incredible. The only limit is your imagination. Also, it gives you a very even and it fills your porosity, gives you a seamless tone, and then there is twice the amount of ceramides. What does twice the amount of ceramides means? It means it's twice as conditioning as most colors on the market. So not only do you have this incredible feeling afterwards, but oh my gosh, it's so shiny. So there are 3 technologies in our ColorSync line, which is our regular ColorSync, which is an alkaline based toner. So there can be a half half level shift. You have your acidic toner, and as we know, with acidic, it doesn't swell like our alkaline does. And then we have the 5-minute toners, which are very cool. So we're going to move on. Let's talk a little bit about these real quick. I know you're busy, so I'm going to try to get you through nice and quickly. Sticky, not going to work. Okay. So as I said before, ColorSync is our alkaline. And what differs the ColorSync between what we'll be talking about here right after that is every single one of our ColorSync, has a brown, a beige, or a tan background. What that basically means is that if there is some uneven lift, which we've all been there, we've highlighted, we've foliaged, so on and so forth. Maybe it didn't saturate the whole way, so you may have some deeper pieces, or that color from that grew out of their head or 7th grade, and now it's finally showing back up, that dark color. It gives you a nice uneven tone. With our regular ColorSync, including the 11s, it gives you that really gorgeous blend, and because it has that background, it can blend everything out and kind of make it, again, seamless, just like we talked about. You should check out the 11 shades. They're amazing. They're incredible. I'm going to say that a lot, I bet. But then we go to the sheer pastels, and so what's the difference? What's the huge difference? Why would I use one or the other? So if you do have that uneven lift, you want to move to your regular ColorSync. Again, alkaline, it can shift. This can shift as well because this is still alkaline. The big difference is there is no brown, beige, or tan background to your pastels. It is strictly the tone. So the best time to use that is if your blonde is almost perfect. It just needs that little nudge to get right where we wanted it, right where that client wanted it, where, maybe it's just, it needs to be like a little bit icier or more neutral, and that gives it that nice little push over. Tiny little push, nothing crazy. And plus, it makes it really shiny. So let's move on to our sheer acidic toners. These are deposit only, and again, since they are acidic, since they are lower on the pH scale, there is no swelling like there is in our alkaline. So this is strictly deposit. The tone is very pure, if you will. It's that tone. It's gorgeous. I mean, they're awesome. I'm gonna keep saying that because I really do like these toners. They're like one of my favorites. The biggest thing we want to remember why we would want to use this is if you have a guest who maybe, let's face it, a lot of our guests were trying some stuff over quarantine. If their hair is a little sensitized to coloring, if they've gone through some interesting changes while they have not been with us, that would be a great time to use it, is for your sensitive hair shaft. Maybe needs gentler toner, no more swelling. Right there is when you want to use it. The big thing you need to remember, is you can't mix them because it is different technologies than with your standard ColorSync and then these acidic toners. What I normally tell people is that, like, again, you can see these boxes behind me. We have our regular ColorSync and then the acidic toners and the 5-minute toner next to it. Your boxes can match. That's the same with like your Dream Age. Boxes match, you can mix. If they don't match, don't mix. The only exception is your soap boosts. You can mix those with pretty much everything. Now this one is pretty much one of the most interesting ones that we have, I feel, because it is the 5-minute fast toners. They're so cool. So the cool thing about these the amazing thing about the 5-minute toners is that it can create a very even canvas. It's great for the prep with a vivid tone, or even if they're just like, it's good, I just needed to shift it a little bit. Another great example, I'll use me actually. I have my hair will turn yellow because of mineral deposit. If you have it really close and it just has that odd yellow background, medication can do that too. Good way to shift it with the anti-yellow is to kind of shift it out. Best thing to do with this is kind of split your hair into the quadrants like you were for a standard application of color at the sink, and use a color applicator bottle because you have way more control, and go quadrant by quadrant until till you see how quickly it moves. Because we may say 5-minute toner, you don't need 5 minutes. it's intense. It's awesome. Now the alkalinity is higher, and that's actually why it moves so quickly. So I would be done here, but I'm not. I'm going to actually show you real quick. I've picked violets across the board for well, technically 3 technologies that we had just talked about. Give me 1 second. I'm getting them. They fell down. So real quick, I don't want to keep you much longer. You might be busy. Here's all of them together. You can see when I get really close, there is a pretty good difference between the few. And real quick, again, I know I keep saying real quick. I'm going to save that one for last because that one's really cool. Oh my. So here is, let's go with your level 11 violet. There we go. And that's where we have that background. Focus. There we go. And you can see, I mean, it's a gorgeous color, but it has that little bit of natural background to it. And then we'll go straight into the sheer, oh my goodness, it's getting stuck. Sheer pastel violets. And as you can see, it's a little more translucent. That's the best way to remember it. Your sheer pastels are going to be far more translucent than your regular, like full-bodied color. And you can see, like, that's just the tone. Nothing, there's no warmth added to it. That's just the tone. There, and here's our sheer acidic. Oh, I love these ones too. A little bit deeper of a tone because remember it is acidic, so it's not swelling and it's just depositing. Please, oh, there we go. Technology is it's great when it works, but when it doesn't, yeah. So, and then last, but most certainly not least, is our anti-yellow. And this is exactly why you cannot leave it on for 5 minutes. I did leave these on for 5 minutes. There, here is right where we have, that's what I lightened this out to, and I left that on for a full 5 minutes, and you can see it's purple, it's violet, it's no joke, not at all, but it does work. It's fantastic. This was probably only lifted to probably like a medium to light blonde. It could have probably gotten a little bit lighter, but I'm thinking these old wefts might have a little more than just real hair to them, which is fine. We worked with them anyway. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed spending some time with me. If you need a recap, I am linking below a wonderful little slideshow you can touch base with anytime. There is a color wheel in there. If you don't have one, print that one out. And it does give you a few little tips in there. It goes in a little more depth or just reminders on what we went over today. Also, below, if you really enjoyed this, go ahead and follow my Instagram. You can send me messages whenever. I am more than happy to answer you whenever I have an opportunity. If I don't know it, I'm going to find someone that does know it. But we're gonna learn stuff together. It's going to be a great time. Let's do it. Otherwise, see you later, guys.